Ever feel a little stuck when you try to talk about your day in English? Yeah, a lot of people do. Well, today, we're going to fix that. We're going to give you all the tools you need to talk about your daily routine with confidence, from the moment your alarm goes off to when your head hits the pillow. So, let's jump right in.
I mean, just think about it for a second. How many different things do you do in a single day? A ton, right? And in this explainer, we're going to load you up with the vocabulary and the grammar you need to talk about all of it. By the end of this, you'll be able to tell your own daily story in English, no problem. So here's our game plan. First, we'll get into the must-know verbs for any routine. Then we'll zoom in on morning activities. After that, we'll tackle some super important but simple grammar. We'll see how it all comes together with a real-life example, and then, you guessed it, it's your turn to give it a shot. Ready? Let's do this.
Okay, first things first, let's build our foundation. To talk about your day, you absolutely need action words, what we call verbs. These are the words that bring your whole day to life. Just look at all these. There's a word for pretty much everything we do, right? From waking up and brushing your teeth in the morning, all the way to doing laundry and watching TV at night. These are literally the building blocks for telling your story. But hey, don't worry about memorizing them all at once. We're just going to focus on the key ones to get you started. All right, let's focus on the morning. Makes sense to start at the beginning of the day, right? We'll look at some key verbs from your perspective, using a really simple structure, just I plus the action. It's the easiest way to get the ball rolling. It all starts here. I wake up. You can make it more specific by adding a time, like I wake up at 7 a.m. See? Simple, clear, and you've already started talking about your day. Okay, next up is get up. Now this is a really good one to know. Waking up is when your eyes open, but getting up is when you actually, get out of bed. It's a small difference, but it'll make you sound so much more natural. Then maybe you have a shower. The pattern is exactly the same. I have a shower. We're just building your morning routine one simple sentence at a time. It really is that easy. And of course, you'll brush your teeth. So there you go. You now have 4 key phrases to describe your morning. Awesome job. Now, let's switch gears and see how to talk about somebody else's routine. So talking about yourself is pretty straightforward. But what if you want to talk about your friend or your brother or your mom? Well, that's where a tiny bit of grammar comes into play. But don't worry, it's way simpler than it sounds. This is the key. When we talk about a he or a she, that little action word, the verb, needs a very small change. It's a tiny tweak, but trust me, it makes a huge difference in sounding natural. This chart makes it super clear. For he, she, or it, we usually just add an S to the verb. So I wake up becomes he wakes up. And check out the verb have. That's a special one. It changes to has. So I have breakfast becomes she has breakfast. Easy enough, right? Now, what if you want to say no or ask a question? That's where our little helper words, do and does, come in to save the day. For yourself, you'd say, I don't work. But for him, it's he doesn't work. And to ask a question, just pop that helper word right at the beginning. Do you work? Or does he work? All right, enough with the rules and charts. Theory is great, but let's see how this all works in the real world. We're going to meet a teenager named Juan David and follow him through a typical day. So we'll follow Juan David all the way from his morning prep, through his school day, his afternoon homework, and into his evening. This is a great chance to see all those grammar rules we just talked about actually click into place. First up, Juan David's school day. Notice how we say he goes to school, not he go. That's our grammar rule right there in action. At lunchtime, it's he has lunch, not he have lunch. There's that special verb form again. And it looks like he's not just eating, he's also having a good time with his friends. In the afternoon, it's homework time. He does his homework. The verb do changes to does, just like we learned. See? It all follows the same simple pattern. And to relax at the end of the day, he watches TV. Now, notice this. For verbs ending in check, like watch, we actually add es, so watch becomes watches. It's a perfect example of how his day winds down. Okay, we've covered the vocabulary, we've gone through the grammar, and we've seen it all in action. Now for the most important part. It's your turn to practice. So let's start by just thinking about your own routine. What time do you wake up? When do you eat lunch? Try to answer these questions in your head using the full sentences we've practiced. For example, I wake up at, or I eat lunch at. Go on, give it a try.
So I'll leave you with this one question. What is one thing that you do every single day? It could be anything, making coffee, listening to music, walking your dog, whatever it is, you now have the tools to describe it in English. You know, the most important thing is just to practice. Start with one sentence, and you'll honestly be amazed at how quickly you improve. Thanks for joining me today.